Welcome to Voyage Daily Tech, the most important news personalized for you every day, supported by Voyage.com.
After listening to today's news, you'll know, first, Tesla's $28 billion bet to build a terafab in the US challenges the fabless chip model, aiming for 1 million wafers a month. We'll explore how this radical move to reverse a decades-long industry trend could transform the global semiconductor supply chain and the future of robotics. Second, breakthrough brain scanning cap combines light and ultrasound for the first time, enabling early AI-powered prediction of infant brain injuries. Today, we'll take a closer look at this world-first medical device and its implications for both early-stage diagnostics and the profound ethical challenges it creates. Third, Microsoft forms a Superintelligence team under Mustafa Suleyman, using a $650 million acqui-hire to reduce its dependency on partner and competitor OpenAI. In this episode, we'll break down this co-opetition strategy and what it signals for the future of the Microsoft OpenAI alliance and the broader AI ecosystem. Fourth, Trump's AI czar declares no federal bailout for AI after OpenAI's CFO floated, needing a government backstop, signaling a new free market policy. We'll analyze why this policy is a turning point and how it could affect the competitive dynamics between US tech giants and state-backed international rivals. Fifth, OpenAI's massive $1.4 trillion infrastructure deals with NVIDIA and Oracle provoke a government clash over the need for federal financial backstops in AI. This discussion will reveal how OpenAI's spending connects to the trend of AI as critical infrastructure and what it means for the future of public-private partnerships. Let's start with a story that could shake the entire tech world. Tesla just announced it's planning to build its own gigantic semiconductor fabrication plant. This is such a radical move because for decades, the entire industry has been moving in the opposite direction toward a fabless model where companies design chips but outsource the incredibly expensive manufacturing. Tesla is proposing to reverse this trend, a high-stakes gamble that even legacy giants have struggled with. At the company's annual shareholder meeting, Elon Musk revealed that even the world's biggest chip makers, like TSMC and Samsung, simply can't keep up with Tesla's ambitions. His words, "Even when we extrapolate the best-case scenario for chip production from our suppliers, it's still not enough." Interestingly enough, this isn't just about production capacity, it's also about geopolitics. So much of the world's advanced chip manufacturing is concentrated in Taiwan, creating a massive supply chain risk. By building a fab in the US, Tesla could be making a strategic play for a sovereign American AI chip supply, insulating itself from global tensions. So Tesla is planning what Musk calls a Tesla terafab. The planned scale is an absolute jaw-dropper, starting at 100,000 wafer starts per month and eventually scaling up to 1 million. To put that in perspective, TSMC, the world's largest chip maker, averages about 1.42 million wafer starts per month across its entire global operation. Musk is proposing a single factory that could one day rival the output of the current industry leader. Actually, a capacity of 1 million wafers a month far exceeds what Tesla would need for its own cars, especially given the astronomical cost, upwards of $28 billion for a single fab. This has led experts to believe the real long-term plan is to become a foundry for the entire AI and robotics industry, much like Amazon did with AWS for cloud computing. And this massive new chip supply isn't just for cars, it's designed to power Tesla's future in artificial intelligence, including its next-generation custom AI 5 chip and the upcoming Cybercab, a fully autonomous vehicle with no pedals or steering wheel. Here's where it gets interesting. A modern car or robot needs a huge diversity of chips, not just the powerful AI brain, but also simpler ones for power management and sensors. Modern fabs are highly specialized. So a huge open question is whether this terafab will have a revolutionary new process to make all these different chips, or if Tesla will still be dependent on others. This all points to a radical shift in Tesla's identity. It all boils down to a fundamental conflict. Tesla's demand for AI power is so massive, it believes it has no choice but to build the infrastructure itself. But building the factory is only half the battle. The US is facing a projected shortfall of 67,000 skilled semiconductor workers by 2030, a talent war that has already caused delays for TSMC's new factory in Arizona. Where Tesla will find the thousands of specialized engineers to run this plant is a critical question. The end game? Musk put it plainly, stating, With AI and robotics, you can actually increase the global economy by a factor of 10 or maybe 100. There's not like an obvious limit. From a project of astronomical scale, we now turn to a piece of technology that's small enough to fit on a baby's head, but could have an equally massive impact. Researchers have just revealed a world-first device that looks like a simple swimming cap. But what it does could change the lives of the 5 in every 1,000 babies born with a brain injury. For these families, the path to a diagnosis for conditions like cerebral palsy can be a long one, with experts noting they can spend years just knowing their child is at risk. Until now, the main tool has been the MRI scan, but that means taking a fragile newborn to a noisy, massive machine for a single snapshot in time. In the first few weeks of life, a baby's brain can change every single day. So as one consultant on the project stated, having a way to do repeated tests is incredibly powerful. And that's where this breakthrough comes in. For the first time ever, a single portable device combines light and ultrasound. The light sensors monitor oxygen on the brain's surface, while the ultrasound images blood vessels deep inside, creating a far more complete picture right in a baby's cot, day after day. Now, you might be thinking, don't we already have other portable brain scanners? And you'd be right. But what sets this new device apart is its unique fusion of technologies for newborns. The functional ultrasound, or FUS, gives incredible spatial resolution down to 250 micrometers, while the light-based system, HD dot, maps brain function. It's this non-invasive, high-resolution combination that makes it a true world first for the most delicate of patients. The secret to making sense of the massive amount of information generated isn't just about what doctors see, it's about what an AI can predict. Researchers are developing sophisticated machine learning models to analyze this stream of data in real time, detecting subtle patterns invisible to the human eye to forecast conditions like cerebral palsy years down the line. For context, one recent study showed a neural network could predict brain injury with 73% sensitivity and 80% specificity, outperforming clinicians' judgment. The charity Action Cerebral Palsy says technology like this could make all the difference, allowing critical therapies to begin sooner than ever before. But this raises a really important question. If this technology successfully identifies thousands more at-risk babies, will our healthcare systems be ready? This is what experts call the diagnosis treatment gap. There's a real risk of creating a bottleneck where we excel at early diagnosis, but families are left waiting for already strained therapy services. Reaching the ultimate goal of widespread screening, which researchers believe is 3 to 5 years away, opens up a profound ethical conversation we need to be ready for. What does it mean to give new parents a probabilistic risk score for a lifelong disability? Medical ethics experts worry about undue anxiety and the impact on parent-child bonding. The consensus is that such predictive testing is most ethical when early intervention can truly change the outcome, so balancing promise with responsibility will be the key challenge. That discussion about the responsible development of AI brings us to our next story, where the corporate battle to build the most powerful AI is getting personal. Microsoft just announced it's building a superintelligence team, and the real story here is the corporate warfare heating up behind the scenes. Let's dig into that name, superintelligence, because it's no accident. Both Microsoft and Meta are now using it for their new labs. This is a strategic branding move to attract top talent and signal to investors that they are leading the charge. It's a stark contrast to OpenAI, which has always used the more cautious term AGI, or artificial general intelligence. Now, get this, the entire move is being led by Mustafa Suleyman, the AI guru Microsoft recently hired away from the startup Inflection. He's the co-founder of DeepMind, placing him at the dead center of the global AI talent war. He's the same executive we highlighted for urging teams to stop chasing AI consciousness. However, if you zoom out, you'll see another layer of strategy at play with this hire. Microsoft didn't formally buy Inflection. Instead, they used a clever acqui-hire, paying Inflection $650 million for a licensing deal and to hire away Suleyman and most of his team. This maneuver allows Microsoft to absorb a competitor's talent and technology almost overnight, potentially bypassing the intense antitrust scrutiny of a full acquisition. This is where the situation takes a more complex turn. This new team is a clear signal that Microsoft is taking steps to reduce its dependence on OpenAI, the very company that kicked off this boom and in which Microsoft holds a massive $135 billion equity stake. they are pouring money into one company while actively building its replacement. We're seeing Microsoft pursue a multi-pronged attack while at the same time its rivals are making their own moves. Meta announced its own Meta Superintelligence labs, and Microsoft has started using models from Google and Anthropic. It's a strategy of redundancy at all costs, part defensive and part deeply offensive, an attempt to own every possible path to the next generation of AI. The price tag is staggering, with projected capital expenditures around $80 billion for their Azure AI expansion. Suleyman himself is drawing a line in the sand, stating, "We are not building an ill-defined and ethereal superintelligence at any cost, with no limits." This echoes his philosophy of focusing on controllable, useful systems. On a technical level, when Suleyman says controllable, he's hinting at a different approach to AI safety. While OpenAI famously uses reinforcement learning from human feedback, RLHF, this new team might explore other techniques like direct preference optimization, DPO, a more direct way to align an AI with human preferences. This squares with Microsoft's bid to be the safe, reliable AI as a tool provider for enterprise. So while Microsoft publicly champions its partnership with OpenAI, its actions reveal a different strategy. It is quietly assembling its own independent AI arsenal, proving that in the race for superintelligence, there are no permanent allies, only permanent interests. Speaking of competition and dependency, the US government just drew a very clear line in the sand about its role in the AI arms race. There will be no federal bailout for AI. That is the stunning hardline message just delivered by President Trump's AI and crypto czar David Sachs. The firestorm ignited after OpenAI's CFO, Sarah Fryer, suggested the company wanted to establish a federal backstop or guarantee to help finance its massive infrastructure investments. The response from the White House was swift and brutal. To understand the gravity of this, you need to think back to the 2008 financial crisis. The term backstop implies a company is too big to fail. Proponents argue that the failure of a frontier A company could be catastrophic, disrupting everything from defense to healthcare. So when the CFO of a company like OpenAI even hints at needing a government guarantee, it sets off major alarm bells. In a public post on X, Sachs didn't just reject the idea, he laid out a new cold-blooded philosophy. He wrote, "The US has at least 5 major frontier model companies. If one fails, others will take its place." The message was unmistakable. The administration is ready to let giants fall. Sachs is technically right about the number of players, but that doesn't tell the whole story. The US does have heavyweights like OpenAI, Anthropic, and Scale AI. However, the sheer amount of capital and computing power required creates enormous barriers to entry, which is why we see this concentration of power among just a handful of giants. The impact was immediate. The OpenAI CFO quickly took to LinkedIn to soften her stance, stating her use of the word backstop had clouded her point. Sachs then clarified the administration's actual plan is not to write checks, but to clear roadblocks by easing permitting and power generation for rapid infrastructure build-outs. Believe it or not, this focus on power generation is one of the biggest hidden stories in tech. The energy demand from AI is exploding, with projections that AI data centers could consume over 5% of the entire US electricity supply by 2030. So when Sachs talks about fast-tracking power, he's responding to a very real and urgent infrastructure challenge. Sachs wasn't done though. He added one more jab, stating he didn't think anyone was actually asking for a bailout, calling the idea flatly ridiculous. This isn't just a policy disagreement. It's a declaration of a new era. The White House has made its position crystal clear. In the high-stakes battle for AI supremacy, there will be no safety nets. This decision brings both benefits, like fostering fierce competition, but comes with inherent risks, especially when placed alongside the strategies of global rivals. While the US bets on a private sector free-for-all, China is using a state-directed model with massive investment funds, and the EU is building its own sovereign AI. This US policy is a high-stakes bet that a purely capitalist approach can out-innovate massive state-funded competitors. And the specific event that sparked this whole no bailout declaration from the White House, it involves OpenAI and a spending plan so huge it's almost hard to believe. The company just inked infrastructure deals worth a staggering $1.4 trillion, then found itself in a public showdown with the government over how to pay for it. That $1.4 trillion figure is so massive, it's hard to even comprehend. But it's not just one single check. It's a series of massive long-term deals. A reported $100 billion from NVIDIA for GPUs, a $300 billion partnership with Oracle for cloud computing, and another $90 billion with AMD for more chips. For comparison, the entire US interstate highway system cost about $500 billion in today's dollars. OpenAI is betting nearly 3 times that on building the future of intelligence. The company behind ChatGPT is on track for an explosive $20 billion in revenue this year. So what could possibly justify that kind of spending? The path to hundreds of billions in sales by 2030 requires more than just subscriptions. It's a bet on fundamentally transforming industries and ultimately on the invention of artificial general intelligence, or AGI, which could unlock entirely new economies. That $1.4 trillion spending spree raised a massive question: where will the money come from? The issue erupted when OpenAI's CFO suggested the company was looking to create an ecosystem that included a federal backstop or guarantee to help finance its investments. And while a federal backstop sounds shocking, the lines between big tech and the government are already blurring. The US government increasingly views AI as critical national infrastructure, similar to the power grid. In fact, OpenAI already has a $200 million defense contract. So the idea of some form of public-private partnership isn't coming from nowhere. The response, as we just discussed, was immediate and blunt from Trump's AI czar, David Sachs: no federal bailout for AI. His statement is crucial because it highlights the core of the American-led, market-driven approach to AI. It stands in stark contrast to what's happening elsewhere with China's state-funded model and the EU's push for sovereign AI. This isn't just a company issue, it's a global philosophical battle. This triggered a rapid walkback from OpenAI. The CFO clarified her comments, and CEO Sam Altman himself issued a definitive statement. He declared that OpenAI does not have or want government guarantees and that taxpayers should not bail out companies that make poor decisions. He put the full weight of the trillion-dollar gamble squarely on the company's shoulders, ending with this: "This is the bet we are making. If we get it wrong, that's on us. The market, not the government, will deal with it if we are."
That's it for today on Voyage Daily Tech. Follow, share, and stay tuned for daily updates coming your way tomorrow.